I don't think you need coffee after this song. This is enough of a caffeine kick. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Molly, and in this video I am going to be reacting to the debut self-titled album from the experimental rock band Mr. Bungle. For a long time now, this has definitely been one of my most requested albums here on my channel. A lot of you really want me to listen to this one. Many of you have said too in the comments that this album inspired a lot of nu metal acts that came after Mr. Bungle, so I'm really intrigued to hear kind of the earlier side to the nu metal music movement. And yeah, I'm just really excited for this one. Let's dive right on into my reaction to Mr. Bungle. Alright, so Mr. Bungle, this album was released in 1991, so it is more than 30 years old. I'm very curious to hear what it's going to sound like. So diving right on into track 1, we have Quote Unquote. It sounds like someone snoring, and now it's just quiet. Okay, we got some really cool funk going on. That was a weird intro. Yeah, they're throwing a lot of instrumentation on here. We had some pipe organ, it sounded like. There's this really great, like, Broadway musical sound to this song. Now it's going into this really, like, slow, trance-inducing sound. Never mind. I don't quite know what to make of this song. I really can't tell you what genre this is. And we got some really strange vocalizations going on toward the end here. And now it's just the sound of a train. Well, that was track 1, Quote Unquote. I guess that is officially my introduction to Mr. Bungle and all of the craziness of their sound that you were telling me about in the comments. That song was all over the place in a really fun way though, just a total fusion of genres. I was hearing elements that reminded me of like a Broadway musical, kind of that really theatrical sound, and then they would pull it in and restrain the sound and make it almost atmospheric at certain points, and then they would bring more of a rock groove with that awesome guitar, and then the percussion too was really big and loud on that song. Alright, moving on to track 2 now. We have Slowly Growing Deaf. I like that noise. I don't know what instrument that is. Alright, so far this one definitely has more of a rock quality to its sound compared to the first track. That was like someone just fired a gun of sound. I love that sound just coming all at you at once. This track's insane. I don't think you need coffee after this song. This is enough of a caffeine kick. Well, that's a first. I guess I've officially heard a song now with someone taking a dump at the end. That was crazy. That was track 2, Slowly Growing Deaf. A whirlwind of sound. Again, I don't know what genre that was. I was hearing rock. I was hearing a lot of jazz, like smooth, relaxing jazz elements to that one. His vocals were crazy too, how they were going from that really low, deep tone, and then they would just go all high and manic and wild. Alrighty, up next we have track 3 called Squeeze Me Macaroni. Yeah, there's those jazzy elements again. I really like it. It's infusing such a great, like, fun, carefree vibe to this album. And then there's that little, like, electronic sound too going on. Now we've got a lot of heaviness coming in. This is more borderline metal sounding. There's such a really relaxed fluidity to this portion of the song. And now we're back with the craziness. That bass is awesome. I love how you have this choir-like sound with the clapping and the vocals, but then all of these jazzy and rock elements and instrumentals they're fusing on too. That was track 3, Squeeze Me Macaroni. That one had portions that had this really laid back, like bluesy sound to it at times. And then it had some choir-like elements there toward the end with the vocalizations going on. A ton of stuff going on with that song. That was crazy. I loved it though. That might be my favorite on this album so far. All right, moving on to track 4, we have Carousel. I love how this track is called Carousel, and it almost has like that carnival sound to it. I've made that comment about System of a Down's music too, just kind of that really fun, quirky quality to it. I've got to say, I really like when they bring a heavier sound to their music. It's got this great density to it, and I love his vocals when they're a little bit deeper too. I love those little arcade sounding effects in the background. Track 4, Carousel. That was a really fun one. I enjoyed the weirdly electronic sounds and elements that they would throw on, like how that track ended there. It almost sounded like a video game sound effect, like you'd hear in an arcade. Just kind of an unhinged sound to that one, just like a lot of maniacal energy coming off of it with the laughing and everything. All right, so moving on, we have track 5 called Egg. Here they go again. So they went with kind of that funky jazz, and now I would describe this as more of a rock sound. I just know what's looking at you, if you want looking at me. Yeah! I love the changes in the rhythmic pattern too. They never let you rest, do they? They're always throwing something new on. Some weird vocal distortion stuff going on. I really like this part. It's more atmospheric. Was that like an audio sample of a lion roaring or something? Or was that actually his voice? That's impressive if that's his voice. And then we're back with those weird ambient sounds at the end of this one. It sounds like we've got more train sounds. Well, that was track 5, Egg, kind of ending similarly to how the last track, Carousel, ended with those arcade game sound effects at the very end. But the main portion of that track, Egg, was awesome. They brought that great heaviness to it again at times, just that denser sound to the instrumentals. I am really enjoying that sound from them. All right, moving on to track 6, we have Stubb a Dub. Here they go with the quirkiness again. This one is kind of reminding me of the first track, quote unquote, how it has that theatrical quality to it, like it could be in a musical or something. It's like a car screeching on a road or something. Now it's time to say bye. How they did that just there was awesome. How it got so heavy for a second and then they just brought that funky fun sound back. Fucking dog. And if you can hear me, rock on the There's also elements of Mr. Bungle that are very reminiscent of Queen and Freddie Mercury to me. Okay, and then we got some crying at the end. Track 6, Stubb a Dub. I feel like I am just reiterating myself at this point, but so much going on with that one, with the variety of sounds. And his vocal range too is just really impressing me, how his voice is oscillating between so many different registers and tones, and there's so much variety in his voice. It's awesome to listen to. But moving on now to track 7, we have My Ass is on Fire. I really like the more explosive, punchy start to this one. I like the effects on the vocals here. There's some really clangy percussion too, like very echoey. It kind of has a little bit of an industrial sound to it. And then we've got the turntable sounds. Such a dark, ominous tone to his voice. It's so threatening. That bass is giving this track, or this whole album actually, such a great rhythmic, bluesy quality kind of. really know what's going on toward the end here. This almost reminds me of the end of the track Iowa off of the album Iowa by Slipknot. It's like every instrument is just going crazy.
Excuse me, I am lost.
So you see, Mr. Bungle, Film's fucking up your whole campaign. I could do a 100% better job than that turkey.
Well, right now I want to make love to your beautiful, beautiful body.
That was track 7, My Ass is on Fire. I think that is the song on this album that has had the most aggressive delivery to it. I think probably that's my favorite on this album so far for that reason. I loved the energy of it paired with those vocal distortions, but then they still had the elements of jazz and kind of that bluesy, relaxed quality too. Alright, so moving on to track 8, we have The Girls of Porn. That was a very entertaining intro, that's for sure.
It's time to masturbate.
I guess this song is kind of a continuation of the end of the last track where those two people were having a conversation. I love the sound of, I think that's like a distorted guitar. It's got such a funky quality to it. That was track 8, The Girls of Porn. Perhaps sonically the most normal or like even song throughout the whole thing, if that makes sense. It kind of retained a similar sound through the whole thing. There was less of that crazy oscillation between the noises and the genres coming at you. Lyrically though, that one was pretty crazy, just very entertaining, very comical to listen to. Alright, so up next is going to be track 9 called Love is a Fist. There's such a smooth tonal quality to this part. I don't even know what this effect is, or if it's a sample of something. It's crazy. It's got this really screechy sound to it.
Love is a fist. Love is a fist.
Open-faced knuckle sandwich. So love is a fist? Is it implying that love is like a punch in the face, I guess? That love is pain?
What's love got to do?
Is that a scream or a whistle? If that is his voice, that is impressive. That is a very high vocal range.
Just before lunch one day, a puppet show was put on at
Yep, and then in true Mr. Bungle form, we have this weird ending again.
When he finally knocked his own tray off the table, that was the end of the puppet show. He wouldn't want to be like Mr. Bungle.
Well, that was track 9, Love is a Fist. I would say that is another favorite of mine. Again, that one had a little bit more of an aggressive delivery, but I really liked how they balanced that out with those really smooth kind of atmospheric portions too. And then the vocals on that song were insane. I mean, as usual, Mike Patton's voice is just really incredible across this whole album. His vocal range is just so impressive. That was really standing out to me on that one. All right, and moving on now to track 10, the last track on Mr. Bungle, we have Dead Goon. Some very weird, kind of dark ambient sounds here at the start. The The instrumentation across this whole album is so fun.
Johnny and just skin and juice and hair.
I love that percussion. It's like he's sinking underwater slowly. His voice is becoming more and more distorted. This track's doing some interesting things at the end here with the sounds. They're kind of like having it go back and forth from one ear to the other. And then there's that really squeaky sound effect too. It almost sounds like a rocking chair going back and forth. It almost sounds like the end credit song in a movie, this part here with the piano. Well, that was track 10, Dead Goon, the final track on the album Mr. Bungle. I kind of like how it ended there with that really ethereal tone, almost like he floated up into heaven. That's kind of the imagery it put in my head. And it's interesting too how the beginning of the first track, it started with those snoring sounds like he was asleep. It's just really cool how they took it from him being asleep at the start to him ascending and going to heaven at the end. That's kind of my interpretation of it anyway. Alright, so that is going to do it for my reaction to Mr. Bungle, the debut self-titled album from the band Mr. Bungle. I can totally see this being an album that inspired a lot of later nu metal acts that came after Mr. Bungle, because there's a lot of elements on this album that remind me of some of the artists I've been reacting to, the likes of Slipknot and System of a Down and Korn. And for me personally, it was the heavier, more rock and metal centric moments of Mr. Bungle that really captured my ear and stood out. My Ass is on Fire and Love is a Fist, I think those were my two favorites just because they delivered on a little bit more of that energetic impact and they kind of had more of a metal edge to them. But yeah, definitely let me know down in the comments if there's anything else from Mr. Bungle I should be checking out. And I am definitely looking forward to hearing more from Mike Patton. He is a crazy talented vocalist and I know he's done a lot of other projects, including Fates No More, which I'm definitely planning on doing an album reaction to them soon. But yeah, as usual, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned and I will see you in the next video.